It's my goal to do this in one take as best I can, I guess, just to not cut anything out. So I'm going to try and be careful, kind of, and cover all my bases just in this one because I want it to be as authentic as possible, I guess. Now, one thing I have to say is that I am not a mental health professional of any kind. I'm not a doctor. I can't give you medical advice. I can't tell you what works best for you. What I can talk about is what has worked for me, um, and sort of what's been going on really forever, just with the human race. Obviously, it's deep and profound, but especially this last year, I think a lot of people have really taken note of mental health problems, and mental health is something. It's annoying because it's kind of like I don't know. It's one of those terms that people bring up, and you're like, oh great, we have to talk about this. There is a bit of a stigma around it, around depression, around suicide, around any of this stuff, and people don't want to talk about them. And frankly, with a little bit of good reason, they're uncomfortable. What can you say? What can you say without offending somebody? What can you do? If you're someone from the outside trying to reach in and you don't feel that same struggle, you don't have depression, you don't have anything like that, you're not going to understand. It's you can come close, you can go through hard times and feel how bad that feels and be like, oh, that person feels that way all the time. Wow. But it's not something you're going to deal with every day. Now, before I get fully into this, I do want to say that recently YouTube passed a new, I don't know, rule, terms of service thing where they can run ads on whatever they want now. I am not monetizing this video. I technically can, but I don't really want to. I have no problem with anybody monetizing a serious topic, but for me, I felt like it took away from I don't know, the impact of what I'm going to talk about. If I did that, I felt like it kind of comes off as disingenuous for this because it's something I've personally dealt with. So if you see any ads or anything running on this, it's not me. Just so you know, didn't do that. Now, here's the thing I wanted to talk about because this last year with the pandemic, with all these quarantines, with everything, I think a lot more people than normal who were susceptible to depression and symptoms of depression, but maybe didn't experience them as much, especially because they were going to school every day or getting out and going to work every day, maybe doing something they actually liked. Maybe they were more active working out. I know I put on a few pounds during the last year and I've been working on getting rid of that. I think a lot of people who didn't really know what this feels like have been starting to feel it. In YouTube, especially, we've seen, I believe, three or four, maybe five content creator suicides in the last year. And again, by the way, I'm going to try not to say that word too much because the YouTube algorithm will probably detect that word if I use it too much and try and not show people this video. And I think it's important to actually get this out there and talk about. Um, and I apologize for all the ums and the pauses. I have been dealing with depression since I was in about, oh boy, probably seventh grade. Probably seventh grade is when it started to bother me, eighth grade at the latest. And it was always something. I'm now 26, so as you can tell, I, am here. But it didn't go away. But here's the thing I wanted to talk about with that a lot of people don't know, and they don't get to hear it from someone who actually has depression or has clinical depression or any kind of symptoms. They hear it from somebody else, some a mental health worker or just an average person with no depression. It gets better. They hear that all the time from people who don't know what it's like, that it gets better. But it actually does in different ways. Now, here's the thing. It doesn't necessarily get better because it just magically goes away when you hit a certain age. I don't really think that's how anything works. To my knowledge, it never worked that way for me. But it gets better because you get better at talking about things. You get better at understanding how you feel about things. You get better at not being an idiot. I think young men especially were kind of idiots because we're taught that we don't talk about this stuff. And even if you have a great dad or father figure or whatever, other young men in your life will tell you don't talk about it. And if they don't straight up say it, they imply it. Like, dude, why are you bringing down the vibe? Why are you killing the vibe? we learn as we get older, especially as men, to talk more about it. And this doesn't mean it doesn't apply to young women either. Young women are also afraid to talk about it, but at least girls are taught better how to actually feel and that it's okay to feel. Men are not. We're not taught that really at all in at least American society. I don't know about the rest of the world. But as you get older, I really do believe that these things become better to express. I never would have made a video about this 5 years ago, for example, even when I was 21. Just never would have. It's nobody's business. Why should I talk about this? Why does it matter? And sometimes you go through a profound life development or, I guess, experience that changes your perspective on things. Sometimes you don't. I know for me, several different things helped me really continue to push. One is that and I'm not saying any of these things to attack anyone who has done this. You just have to understand this is my point of view as someone who considered ending my own life multiple times when I was in high school and early college. I hate quitting and I hate quitters. And I felt like I was taking an easy way out of a journey, I guess. That was one thing that immediately put me off to doing it. But I also understand that some people are so far down that lane that kind of almost self-determination idea of pulling out of it doesn't help. It's not even a thought. But that was always one for me. Another one was that I felt like I was letting people in my life win who would have rather seen me gone. And again, that's a level of stubbornness. But I always felt that if I exited the building early, the world would keep going. And I'm not saying that in a sense of like, hey, it doesn't matter. It absolutely does matter. I don't know where my mom heard this from, but I really do agree with it. She was talking to me about this earlier because I was talking about making this video that is obviously going to be unscripted and hopefully helpful to somebody, but clearly it's all over the place. A person who takes their own life, it's not just like they're gone. And if you've ever had someone in your life who has done it, you know what I mean. It's like a bomb goes off. It's like a bomb goes off and they take pieces of other people with them. And I never wanted to do that to anybody. The thing is that wherever you're at in life, there are people who do love you and care about you, and it changes. My friends now, two of them, T and Nate, were my friends in high school, but a lot of other ones have changed. Friends come and go, and it doesn't mean you dispose of them willy-nilly, but things change, people move, new people come into your life. A lot of things have happened in my life now that would have never happened. I would have never been around for if I had gone through with what I wanted to do. A lot of great things. And do I still feel symptoms of depression? I do. Yeah, I do. I don't think it's worth lying about that and pretending like it's perfect. I never am bothered anymore from this medical condition that for some reason we're ashamed to talk about. I do still have symptoms, but for example, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now in my career. Very happy. Do I have problems? Absolutely. Do I get annoyed and angry with it? Yeah, 100%. I'm a human being. But I wouldn't be doing something I love, for example. Another thing is, I'm planning on getting married, this next year. I wouldn't be doing that at all if I had been gone. And it would have taken a huge piece of the people's lives that touched mine with me. It wouldn't just be damage to me. You always wonder when people leave your life that way if there's anything you could have done, anything you could have changed. But a lot of the times the people who end it that way think that they're doing everybody around them and themselves a service, that they're not wanted, that nobody wants them, nobody loves them. And it's because it's not like schizophrenia voices, but there's almost these voices and feelings in your head always telling you you're not good enough, you don't matter, you won't amount to anything. Well, those voices are wrong. And this experience I kind of saved for now because it's something that I didn't want to lead with and just distract from the rest of it. But what really, I guess, changed my perspective on all of this, there were a few key events. One was in high school on my senior year trip. I was actually thinking about checking out. We took a trip up to the mountains, and I realized how easy it would have been to kind of just sneak away and jump. I really did. I thought about it, and I thought, who's going to miss me? Now, when I was going to do that, one of my friends actually found me and talked to me and didn't realize what I was doing, but just talked to me as a friend and was like, hey, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And it was kind of a wake-up call to remind me that as much as I thought my problems were huge, they really weren't. And there were people in my life who cared. And ironically now, the problems that I had in high school don't even matter to me. The girls that I liked that didn't like me back, I don't care. I don't care at all. The job that I wanted that I have no interest in anymore, it doesn't matter. It's not even a problem anymore. Isn't that crazy? The things that I was thinking were such a big deal at the time, they were at the time, but I thought they would be for the rest of my life, and they weren't. Then when I was in college, I believe when I was about, I'm trying to think, 22-ish? No, not 22. 20. I'd say I was 20. I was driving in my car and kind of feeling the same way. It was winter, and I was feeling like, what's the point? That, I don't have anything going for me. I don't have any future plans. I don't care about anything. Why am I here? And I remember I took a turn at probably 60 miles per hour, like an idiot, that the normal speed limit's 40, and oh yeah, it was sheer ice. So I was clearly a bad driver, first off. And this was a highway. And I'm rounding the bend really fast, and I spin out. And I knew in my head, well, this is it. I'm dead. I didn't do it on purpose, but I'm going to die. And I remember one of the first things I thought was, I hope my parents are okay. Because I kind of realized by this point that if something happened to me, it would affect the people around me. And I spun out. Basically, I hit this turn. I spun all the way around off into oncoming traffic. And there were cars coming. And then I spun all the way back. And I don't know how this happened, but I spun all the way back into the embankment on the other side of the road. And then I was back on the road driving. I didn't do anything. And people will always come up with an explanation. And you can believe whatever you want about this. It's not my job to convince you of what it means, nor is it really your job to convince me. But I can tell you what I knew. I knew that I didn't do anything. I didn't black out. I didn't turn the wheel. I had accepted that I was going to die. I had accepted death. And that it was done. And my whole part in all this story, whatever that I saw from my point of view, was over. I hope my family would be okay and that's it. But I was back on the road driving. And I don't know how it happened. I don't know what reached in and changed what was happening. And I know that a lot of people who don't believe in anything else, anything bigger, will think that's bullshit. And that's fine. That's fair enough. If you told me you got kidnapped by an alien, I'd be pretty skeptical myself. I'm not here to debate. But at that moment when I was back on the road, I knew that my life was more valuable. I knew that there was more for me than dying in a ditch half a mile from my house on a shitty old freeway in a bad beat-up car. I knew there was more for me, at least for a while, And it's something I struggled to grasp for a long time. What happened? Why didn't I die? How did my car end up back on the road? I didn't do anything. What saved me? Was it God? Was it an angel? Was it me? I don't know, but I do believe that there was more there than me. Whatever you want to read into that is your business, but I really do think it was a miracle. Either of the literal, spiritual, or metaphorical sense, I walked away from a situation where I should have died unscathed, Minimum should have hit a telephone pole and been paralyzed. There were some around, but I'm fine. And I realized that there was more for me after that. And it really made me start to value my life more. And even when I would feel these thoughts and these feelings of, why don't I just be done? Which honestly, I don't even feel anymore, really. Suicidal thoughts. I don't. I still have depression problems, but I don't feel that way. Like it's time to cut it short. Those feelings started to fade away, you know? A few years later, my dad would be diagnosed with cancer. It's something I try not to rattle off about tons because I have people who like try and mock me for it, which is weird because it's like, haha, your family member died, which like I don't understand. Cool. I mean, that's like, I hate the word incel, but that's almost like the most incel-y thing you can go for. It's like, there's a lot of surface level stuff here, guys. Like, I mean, I'm annoying, I'm fat, I think I know everything sometimes. There's a lot of surface level stuff you can go for, and that's kind of a weird one to pick. It's like a Freudian projection type thing. But I also don't bring it up all the time because I do think that it's a little bit of a downer to constantly talk about. But he was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer a few years later. And that really affected my depression again. It was like going through a really hard time. It's like you're already on like 1/4 gas all the time, and then you're getting pushed down to the red line and you're told to keep going. And it's really hard. And it's not fair. I was in the same room when my dad died. I watched him take his last breath. I watched him die. I was one of the last people he talked to when he was coherent. And that really affected me too. But it also made me realize how much death affects those around us too. My dad passing away naturally, he wasn't just gone. It was a bomb. It left damage all around, and it wasn't his fault. But it did. You know, I'm still picking up the pieces from it. So is my mom. And my mom needs me, you know. Other people in my life need me to stick it out. And they always have, and they always will. And I wanted to remind you guys, I guess, if you are going through a difficult time, whether it's the pandemic, whether it is, I don't know, relationship, personal stuff, even if you're in high school. I'm not here to tell you your problems don't matter. I'm not here to tell you that they don't feel like the biggest thing in the world right now. But the things that seemed like such a big deal to me years ago, they're just not anymore. People change, problems change, some get bigger, some get smaller. New people enter your life, new plans come up, new things that you get to take a part in. And it hurts so many people when you're gone. And there's so many better ways that you can live your life, you know, and find happiness. And there's so many different avenues you can seek for help, you know. And it's not just a guilt trip. It's not just like, well, don't do it because other people will be sad. Because that doesn't always help, really, you know. I mean, it's good to know. It is good to know because sometimes you want to do it because you think nobody cares about me. But one, people do. Two, people will, even if they don't right now. Even if no one cares about you right now, you will make connections and friendships in your life unless you leave that will matter to you, where you will matter to them. You will be one of the biggest parts of people's worlds. You will touch entire other worlds. I know for me, I've gotten, and I'm not saying this to brag. It's not a brag. It's really odd, in a good way. I've gotten probably at least a dozen messages of people saying that my YouTube videos about stupid video games made them happy and made them reconsider what they wanted to do to themselves because they realized, you know, that they could be creative or that there were fun things out there and it kind of re-energized them. I wouldn't have had that impact if I was gone. It's not just the people in my life it would have hurt. There would be other people not here if I wasn't here, which is really hard to reconcile and come to grips with. It's very odd to me. I'm an idiot. I play games on a Let's Play channel. I do top fives about video games and comic books and stuff. I don't really think I'm changing the world, but you don't know what impact you have and will have on the world. It's pretty surreal and insane. for good or for bad. You can make it either way, you know? I really do believe that we can all have a positive impact on the world. And, if you stuck it out this long and you watched all this, and none of this is a problem to you, at the very least, it should help you understand a little bit maybe what people around you are going through, and how you can try and be there for people. And also, then again, this is not medical advice, but there are lots of outlets out there to help you. People find belonging in different things. And I said this to Nate earlier. We were talking in the store. I really do think human beings need three things. This is just my perspective. There's way more subtleties and small things than this. But in life, I really do think people need somewhere to belong, something to put above them, and something to go against. Now, these things can be your thing. I have my thing, you'll have yours. Some people find somewhere to belong as a church. That helps them out a lot. That is a sense of belonging for them. Other people volunteer. They join a community center, they join community league basketball, they make friends. They find online groups where they fit in of friends. They find a group on PlayStation or Xbox to play Star Wars with or COD with or whatever, and connect with other human beings. Some people it's Reddit. This belonging, you need to figure out where that is for you. I really do believe. Something to put above you. And this is, again, up to you. This can be religion. This can be ideology. This can be anything you believe in strongly. It can be creativity. Are you an artist? Channeling your energy into something like that you love, that makes you feel better. And something to go against. I really do believe this too. Understanding where you fit into the world. Understanding your morals, what you believe, what you don't believe. Doing what's right. These things, they bring an insane amount of belonging and understanding to everybody's life. They're key cornerstones that if you're missing one, I think really do affect you deeply, especially if you already are suffering from depression, clinical or otherwise. These are things that you need to figure out for yourself, I believe. I can't tell you what they are. They're different for every person. What it is to give you hope, to remind you that there's more out there, that there's a reason to stick around, and that the world is bigger than you, but you really do matter in it, and that you're not alone, and that people love you, and that there's 7.5 billion people in the world. And people can look at that one of two ways. There's the nihilistic way. There's 7.5 billion people in this world. What's one more? I don't matter. Or there's 7.5 billion people in this world. There's somebody for everybody. If you're interested in a mate, whether it's your same sex, whether it's the opposite, no matter what it is, if you're interested in a mate, a husband, a wife, a significant other of any kind, there's someone out there for you. I really do believe that. You're not the one person incapable of bonding with the other 7.5 billion people in the world. I know we all see it from our point of view, but you're not. You're more special than that. And also, think about how many lives you can touch and change, over the course of that. It's one reason I try to make people laugh. It's something Robin Williams said. I'm not even going to try to do the quote because I'll butcher it, but some of the saddest people try and make people around them happy because they know what it's like not to be. And that's another thing I always look at is what kind of positive impact I can have on the world. And I do want to say, in conclusion, I really hope that something in here was useful to somebody. I didn't script it. I didn't want to edit it. I just wanted to go through in one go and give it my best shot to talk about, because I really do believe that there is more to life. There's always a reason to stick around. Things can always get better, but they can't if you quit. They can't if you leave. And nothing in here is meant to insult anybody. I understand that this is a sensitive topic, especially to people who have lost someone to this. My goal is not to insult them. My goal is not to insult you. My goal is not to insult anybody. And normally I don't care about that. If I make you upset, like just some random person, if I make them upset from something I say. But this is a really touchy subject that I think needs care. And the people who suffer from these problems deserve more than a bull in a china shop approach with this. I can't solve people's problems for them. I'm not a therapist or a counselor. I can't do that. There are resources for you if you're interested, but you have to be interested. You know, you people are not mind readers, and I know that sucks. It sucks so bad. To feel like I'm going through all this. How the fuck can't you tell? How can't you tell? I'm suffering, and people around me can't see it. What is wrong with them? But everybody's going through their own thing, their own hard time. And as much as yours feels like a massive black hole on your life that you wish other people would probably notice, there's somebody else in your life who feels the same way and you don't notice. There always will be. There always has been. The best that you can do is try and look out for it. Seek out the help that you need so that you can help other people. Um, I know it sounds lame, but we are all in this together. Life is hard enough without everybody being against each other. And I really do think that we can all make the world a better place and fit in our own special spot. I really, truly do believe that. I don't believe everybody's a winner. I don't believe everything will be perfect. But I do believe there's always a reason to stick it out. I will include some resources in the description down below. I did my best to handle this. Um, I'm interested to hear what you think in the comments. Um, I'm not going to take it personally. If you have your own thoughts on it, please share them. Please do. But even if this isn't a problem for you, look around in your life, because I can almost guarantee that there is somebody who is struggling, and it might be hard to see. They might wear a smile over it. You might never be able to tell. They might be hilarious. They might make you laugh. But on the inside, every day they're hurting and they need help. They just don't know how to tell you. They really don't. You got to have the tools in the toolbox, and getting help can do that. I will include some resources down below. Please, you're not by yourself. I know you feel like you are, but you're not. This was difficult for me to talk about, so I'm going to end it here. I hope you all have a good day. I'm interested in your thoughts, and I'm sorry for my disjointedness. I appreciate you sticking it out and listening. I really do. You're not by yourself.